Mic testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. I would like to start with a commercial, which, some of you might have seen, most of you might not have even heard of it. Now, that commercial, that TV commercial, defines, there are as years go, you had a BC, which is before Christ, not before Corona, before Christ. You had that, and AD. So, that's a commercial. This commercial defines an era where, old relics like me resided. It was before my time, incidentally. And so this defines the start of a new generation. Now, can you imagine a world without mobiles? You're born with mobile. Your birth possibly was inform ke baby janmi gayi, that kind of thing. In our time, telegram used to, not my time, my dad's time, telegram would go. And especially when it went from Gujarat, it would be Babo Janmyo. Or when baby Janmi means a baby girl is born. And Babo. Anyway, that's the thing. Can we have the commercial? Where it's going to play where? Acha, upar aa rahe, Baba. I thought I have to duck or something. Yeah, I can see it here. Volume.
We celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests, obeying contradictory thoughts. Our unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Context. And I don't know. Sorry, there is a context. There is a context. Has anyone read the iconic 1984 George Orwell's book? Yeah, there you are. So now you will understand it better. So there the thing was, it was a mechanized society, and everyone would be like machines. That kind of imagination was there. So here Macintosh came and shattered everything, and it gave you the computing power. So why I'm telling you is that this was the defining moment from 1984 onwards till now. The computing power has made advances. Now, in this, you can do your banking, you can do your travel, you can do everything. Your life is in this. Your dates are on this, your death, your life, your food, your movies, your everything is in this. So you can't imagine a world without this. And this was the one which triggered that off. Chalo, chalu kare. Let's start this thing. See, what I've done is I was not very sure what kind of a flow would be there. So let's go with the basic thing, that what is a brand, right? So what is a brand? Brand is something which you see on on a pack, or is it something you see on a car, or is it something which you read in newspapers or see on television and all? It's all of this and much more. Brand basically lives on products, and more than that, it resides in your brain. Every time, a normal jeans is a jeans. But the moment you see Levi's, it conjures up a lot of other imagery. So, and same jeans, which will be which will cost, say, made from Irvin denim, which would be, say, 500 rupees. The moment you have, acha, this is, okay, speaker. By the time I learn it, my presentation will be over. So anyway, so that's the basic of brand, and you can keep on. See, now I know where it goes. So brands are major equity in most marketing companies. most of the focus, when it's a consumer brand, most of your focus is in creating a value addition to the brand, in making it more meaningful, making it more, connect to your audience. So for a consumer, he perceives a brand as higher quality, more reliable, and better value. So as I was telling you, a normal Arvind ke kapde ka jeans and one which has got a Levi's this thing label here, it has got two different this thing. The moment you see Levi's, think of Deepika Padukone, or think of all the stars and all the this thing lifestyle which is built into it. Branding helps the consumer to simplify the decision. See, what happens is that once a brand, I'm giving a terrible example, but say if you're a smoker, moment you go and buy a cigarette, when you say Marlboro, you are you imagine yourself, oh, I am a cowboy, I am riding a horse. Now you're at Nehru Nagar Char Rasta hai yaar. Sitting on your scooter and worrying ke yaar ab tulla aake yaar chalan na kare. But for that second, for that moment, if you're a will smoker, where there used to be those ads of beautiful people in Mediterranean. So Lari wala, when he's smoking that, he is there. He is in Greece or somewhere. He doesn't even know where. But that beautiful woman is with him and all. So that's the power of a brand. Brand also differentiates your product by making a promise to a consumer. So when you have two things, sometimes what happens is there is one biscuit which is sold as a digestive biscuit, and then there is Parle G. Chances are that it is equally good or bad. Both of them are equally good or bad, but you have bought in that digestive ka promise. So when you eat it, you feel, "Arey, to अच्छा है, फटाफट digest हो जाएगा." It's all going to come here, just like me here. So, but that's the way it goes. Let's see one more ad, yeah. So this is the first Just Do It wala Nike ka ad. I've got way back.
Miles every morning. I run 17 miles every morning. People ask me how I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime. I leave them in my locker.
So now if you see, you're stocking some different kind of thing, but the impression you get is that there's this 80-year-old guy, thanks to his shoes, which have presumably they've kept company since last 80 years. Yeah. He is just he's just running like this on a road, and Just Do It, that was the promise that came, and it got extended into such a beautiful campaign. And it sustains to date. If you see, there have been other this thing, they do various campaigns for focused products and all that, but Just Do It is the definitive. The moment you say Nike, Just Do It is the thing that comes into your mind. So what happens is, again, coming back to the example, Nike shoes, they're 10 grands. Now the same one manufactured somewhere in Korea, the same set, if it had some other brand written on it, they would have not even commanded half the price. So that's the power of a brand. That's how premium it can get you. So what happens is for example, I've fallen in love with my A6. So I keep on paying lots of money because they're good for my feet. I have problem feet, so they have that curve and all. So I'll pay. If today they are charging 10,000, tomorrow if they're charging even 15,000, I have bought into that brand. So I'll keep on buying that. So it will get you repeat sales once you so that's the thing. For example, Fevicol. Fevicol is one brand, they have sold their promise in such a way, in such creative way. They are the same agencies we used to work with when I was in telecom, Ogilvy. They've done a fantastic job. Can you see the Fevicol ad, please? They have done tons and tons of these ads, and you can, I mean, it's much more entertaining than RRR or whatever. The beer. Although I have to see RRR because there's some fantastic scene. So someone was telling me, so I'll have to see some. Anyway, so some brands then become iconic. They become a reference point. You have get me a Xerox. I have seen in Bombay. I have seen यहाँ पे Canon पे Xerox होती है. Sounds like kind of Xerox is riding Canon, but that's how it is. Then Aquaguard का पानी है, Nestle की Cadbury देना, and Syntex. I used to work for this brand. I mean, I worked on this brand. So plastic tank is generic for Syntex, that kind of thing. And Bisleri, it's been sold, done, dusted, but Bisleri का पानी पीते हैं, Yeah. So anyway, one interesting thing is that Rank Xerox, the mother company in US, they did a campaign educating people that Xerox is, photocopying is not just Xerox. They say that we are a full this thing document company, and there are they gave mileage to their competitors, that there is this company you can do their photocopy on this, there is this company you can do photo, because they had a real danger of being banned by the US authorities for being a monopolistic this thing company. So they actually did it in the late 70s. So I mean, I've seen that campaign. I couldn't locate it, otherwise I would have shared it with you. I have to do it. Aadat pad gayi hai, yeah. Okay, I have again tried to give a broad outline, which is a very general kind of a thing. Landscape of the future. See, traditional marketing plans in 1990s, again continuing from the 1984 theme, you had a TV creative brief, TV advertising was created. What the requirement was, a short ad, because the ad rates were really very high, and your option was only Doordarshan, channels were not there. The media department was given a brief, and they would make a media plan led by television, because that was also easy, 80% of your money just goes on the television, it earns revenues for the agency, and your home. Agency compensation was percentage of media spend. So ideally 15% is what was charged. I don't think it's very relevant for you guys, because you're never going to deal with that ever in your careers. And if you had in those days, whoever the star was, and if you did an ad, say with Sunil Gavaskar or whatever, along with the TV commercial, there will be a still photographer taking the photographs, and that was taken in the print campaign. That would go on hoardings. That will would be, there was no social media. Some company were experimenting with website, that kind of thing. But that also was not there, not much. PR department was generally to take care of only the annual report, and if it was a listed company, if there was some shareholder making any noise and all, talk to them, tell them everything is fine. Cut to 2022. FMCG marketing. Typically we'll take I am not getting into the startups, because there are brands like Cred. I mean, I can't make out what they are selling or what, but they have, yeah, I really can't make out what they're selling. You know, and I was seriously thinking of getting myself tested. कि साला dementia तो नहीं हो रहा है, that kind of thing. And then you had all those whole lot of. Thankfully, they've been banned. A whole lot of those. कौन सा वाला that? Huh? No, Dream 11 तो भी ठीक है. Like it's a. अरे हाँ, Bitcoin. Yeah. All those Bitcoin months, yeah. And I felt that I am a complete failure. जिंदगी में किया क्या है? Bitcoin नहीं किया, करोड़पति नहीं बना, क्या किया है मैंने, that kind of thing. Thankfully, that's been banned now or whatever, or they've all gone to somewhere. I don't know where, maybe Russia or somewhere. So right now it's much more like, I had an interesting chat with Niyati here just before we came in, just before you guys disturbed us anyway. So, so see, right now the task is much more daunting. The task is much more challenging for a typical advertiser or for a typical client. You youngsters, 17, 18-year-old, some of you are more talented than, say, Piyush Pandey or whatever. Because Piyush Pandey these days doesn't create anything. Whereas, you guys are 18 hours on your handset. You're experimenting with various packages, doing your own commercials, having your own Instagram accounts and all. So, which is where the battlefield has now moved to. So, the need is you just can't do an ad and sit ke Mahabharat mein bajega, jayega, paisa aega, apna commission aega. That is not there. Sponsoring DD Mahabharat no longer the best option. So what you got to do is you have to do multiple level of advertising. You have to not just have one creative hotshot agency. You have to have one very young team which is going to do your social media. You have to go and grab those influencers, product influencers, who will give a boost to your product. And even big FMCGs like the levers and all, they are also doing it. They are doing it quietly, but they are also doing it. They are also plugging their products through all these options. So that's where it has moved. It's become a minefield, because there are, on one hand you have tons of people who have more money than sense, putting in money into startup ideas of people who are sitting in coffee shops and बोलता है अरे मेरे को लग रहा है कि कॉफी का एक कप है उसकी जगह 1.5 कप क्यों नहीं बना सकते हैं, and then some guy will say अरे क्या आइडिया है, पैसा दे दो इसको. So only criteria there is, and I'm not scoffing or I'm running down. There is an element of envy also. Maybe I was born too early. Maybe I should have छोटा बच्चा होता तो मेरे को भी पैसा मिलता. So, and so the criteria is you have to either be sitting in a cafe near a IIT, or you should have been doing something in IIT, and you should look very young, and you should be talking about beach mein you should be feeling lost. No, it's coming, that idea, that kind of thing. Yeah. Now, if you do it enough number of times, you will become a unicorn. Yeah. So, when I first thought first unicorn, so I actually thought that, अरे unicorn देखने मिलेगा, लेकिन ऐसा होएगा. It turned out to be just money. Yeah. Anyway, it's all money only. Anyway. So, let's move ahead from here. Again, same thing what I told you. So you have to be more relevant. You have to have many more touch points. You have to be, you have to reach the people. For example, to reach you. Tell me, how many of you read newspapers? कौन पढ़ता है Times of India? You are old, yeah. Youngsters. अबे तू भी बूढ़ा है यार. See, there we go. So to reach you, the media plan just cannot rely on an ad in Times of India. To reach you, the media plan the communication has to go where you go. And it just cannot be a coffee shop, because that's very expensive. But 17, 18 hours of the day, you are engaged in this. So you have to be reached there. That's the reason why, companies like Google and Microsoft and all, they are charging what Doordarshan used to charge those days. So, because they also know this is a new battleground. Meta is creating its own universe, and all of us are like sucked into that. So need to start doing this now. Now you are the fortunate generation that you are like, you don't have any bags and baggages of the past. You don't know, like, पहले था ठीक है, अपने को क्या है, that's the attitude that you guys have. And, you guys are very, very fortunate. You're very fortunate to be born with like, with a Google in your hand. We had to like, actually literally go through that physical thing laboriously, like, go into search and Wikipedia, and like, Wikipedia is also actually this thing online thing only, encyclopedia. That, now no one has encyclopedia. Everyone has a Wikipedia, and half the information on Wikipedia is also wrong. So that's the sad part. Now, like, moving from just basic brand, I've tried to cover 2-3 slides on brand power. So, the acid test of any brand is like, when you go to a shop and you tell him that, "Mujhe biscuit de do." That is not the brand power. You are asking for any biscuit. But you go there and you say, "Mujhe 50-50 de do." He says, "50-50 nahi hai, 40-40 hai." And then you say that, "Nahi, main 50-50 hi chalega." And in 44-degree heat, you get on your scooty, Luna, cycle, or yellow bike or whatever, and you go to next shop. हमको 50-50 चाहिए. That's the power of a brand. That you will make that extra effort and you will go there. Normally, like, these kind of efforts are made only for cigarette brands. कि मेरा wheels चाहिए मेरे को, मैं जी नहीं सकता पापा, Yeah. Yeah. When I used to drink, ना अपने को सब चलता था, कुछ नहीं तो चाचा टिंचर पिला दो यार, that was the thing. So but like, some brands have that kind of power. Like, they have the power of like, having that kind of loyalty. Like, for my shoes, I'll wait. Because it's a question of comfort. If I'm going to work out, if I'm going to go for a walk, if I'm going to like, then I need those shoes. Similarly, like, shirts also. But more than that, like, it is these categories, like blade, shaving blade. Boy, I'm covering only half the audience. Okay, let's forget blades. Biscuit, theek hai. So power brand, like, as the slide says, it dominates share and it adds value in the segment. Power brand equity will be based on owning emotional and rational benefits. So again, emotional and rational benefits is one rational benefit is 50-50 is tasty. 50-50 will like, satisfy my hunger. And the इमोशनल वन इज दैट लाइक सालों से यार 50-50 कंफर्ट है यार, पेट में भी तकलीफ हुई नहीं है, मोटा भी नहीं हुआ हो, विच इज़ रॉन्ग, मोटा तो ही जाते हो बिस्किट खाते हो तो. सो shall we have I desperately tried to be, I have a telecom background, like, for many years I was in telecom, so I desperately tried to keep away from telecom, but I couldn't. So can we, hello, हाँ,
in this beautiful world, green grass, blue skies. In this beautiful world, you and I, winding lanes as streams go by.
I like this. You guys spent 10 years, like, taking care of not the dog, and it's not a dog brand. It's a beautiful brand. It was a beautiful brand. So, like, there is some piece of advertising, like the Marlboro Man. So in this case, the Hutch dog. Now, we did tons of commercials. it's like a political campaign. What catches on, then you leverage that and you extend it. So we did tons of ads, and Rajiv and Mahesh, the creative brains, uh, then Mahesh passed away, but Rajiv and Ogilvy, they did lots of ads, out of which, in advertising, the basic tenet is, if any one of you go into advertising, and the basic rule is that two things will always sell. One is a kid and one is a puppy. So what we did was, bachcha bhi liya, kutta bhi liya. And we put it there. And we did some, aisa jingle dal diya andar, and good, this thing. Anyway, jokes apart, this was a hit from day one. People really took to it. And that time, network was a big issue. And it was not like today we have accepted, कि भाई ये पैसे में तो ऐसा ही network आएगा ना. That time, the ARPU, the revenues were also higher. People were paying more money, and network was a key issue. And there were lots of competitors that time. So in those days, even in circles where network was terrible, this ad worked. Perception was, नहीं यार, आज का तो अच्छा ही होगा ना यार, उसमें क्या है, that kind of thing. So see, in advertising, also, advertising will also build perception, and those perceptions will be far bigger and far more convincing and far more close to your heart than the reality. Example is normally across the world, prime example of that is the political leadership. नहीं वो तो हमारा नेता तो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता, हमारा नेता तो Teflon coating है, sacrosanct है across the world. I'm not talking about India. So because I have to make other presentations also somewhere. So anyway. So the perception that was built was that Hutch as a superior network, and that worked. When interesting side story of this is, I was in a presentation in a Exico meet. Someone actually made this statement: when Hutch was sold to Vodafone, the boy and the dog fetched them $2 billion more, just because of the boy and dog. The kind of brand value that was created, they got a higher valuation from Vodafone. A company and a brand which could have sold for about, I think, $10 billion or something, fetched them about almost $13 billion. And they said, कि यार ये कुत्ता और क्या value है? ठीक है बाबा. Anyway, and another thing is the dog is not the same. एक ही सलमान खान नहीं है, अलग-अलग सलमान खान है हमारे. So boy also, boy, the face you can't see much. So you keep on changing the thing. And the dog who was was used most of the times was a star. He had a vanity van of his own, और AC में बैठता था, and his Malik would say, नहीं ये तो हमारा राजा बेटा, that kind of thing, because he also became a star. And other thing is that a pug which was available for about 7,000-8,000, thanks to Hutch, 30,000 में बिकने लगा. So value of the dog also went up. Let's see one more ad.
Hey, brother, there's an endless road to rediscover. Hey, brother, know the water's sweet, but blood is thicker. Oh, if the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. What if I'm far from home? Oh brother, I will hear you call. If the sky comes falling down for you, there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do.
That was young Salman Khan, by the way. Yeah. No, this again is an enduring brand. Sweetened water, aerated water, which is not good for your health also. For more than 100 years, it is a staple drink of a huge, not one generation, Like, now people have become more, careful about their bodies and what they eat and all that. Otherwise, one interesting thing is that whenever the US Army went anywhere, they were ensured of their supply of coke. So whether they were fighting in Vietnam or whether they were fighting in Cambodia or they were chilling out in Afghanistan, they all had their coke, you know. So that's the power of a brand. And again, Coke over the years has built such an image of for itself, and Pepsi kept on challenging it for all these years. But Coke is a Coke. Even when they overcame, in some places, Pepsi was selling more than Coke, but the brand image endured. 5 now. Anyone who's awake now, I'll put you all to sleep. 5 principles that make a power brand. Okay, this is the last slide. So, the power of the look. A brand, when any time when you are looking at a brand or when you are perceiving a brand has to come across as something which measures up to your expectation. When you are, say, if you are buying a car and if you have a imagery of a good car, then it should live up to that image. The power of the promise. So whenever you are having a Coke, the promise it gives you is that it refreshes you. And they spend tons of money. When you are buying a Hutch card or a Vodafone card, when you were buying that in those days, the power was that the promise was that wherever you go, our network follows. So when you put that SIM in your phone, you were expecting that, and you were most of the time you were delivered that. The power to build brand equity. Now, this is very important, especially for FMCG companies and all. When you're building one brand, and if you invest enough in that brand, you can also do extension. You can also take it from here. You can have you can have a soap, you can have a shampoo, you can have a whole range of beauty products and all, provided you have spent enough to build that equity in it. Same, leverageable is almost the same because that's what you're doing. You're leveraging it. And only thing is that you cannot take if you're making a detergent product, if I'm say making surf, a surf biscuit is not going to gel because every time you are eating a biscuit and if surf agar uska naam hoga to arey wash is brightest and whitest, kya kha raha hu main, that kind of thing. So it has to be related expansion, it has to be related this thing, and power that's enduring. See, this is the dream of any brand creator or a brand manager or a brand, that you create a brand which will live, which will keep on living forever in the minds of the people. And there are some brands which have vanished, dalda is not available here, but our generation will always remember dalda, that kind of thing. So those are enduring brands. I think yahi समाप्त करते हैं. Questions?
Thank you so much, Hemang Bhai. Quick questions.
Questions.
Absolutely. We will make sure we have time for questions.
मैं जवाब दूंगा.
No. Ad PR वाले.
Thank you.
अच्छा हाँ, of course. वो एक धीरे-धीरे करके हाथ.
कौन है?
Hello. Yes, so my question is regarding advertising industry.
Right.
Like, what do you see the future of a conventional local national agency or multinational agencies? How do you see the industry and the structure of an agency evolving when the digital is kind of very integral to what's happening today?
I will give you a very serious answer to this because it's
also sir, because students are looking for
no, absolutely. So I'll cut my this thing and I'll give you a serious answer. See, the pandemic has been bad for everyone. It has affected most industries. Advertising is one of the frontline industry which is affected, because what happens is that in bad times, the typical response is advertising ka budget pehle band kar do. What they don't realize is that it is the brand which is going to save them in the end. But it's a knee-jerk reaction that we are spending so much on advertising, so like, let's stop that. Advertising is also completely people's business. What's an ad agency? You tell me, what is Ogilvy? Ogilvy is not about Ogilvy and Mather or Lintas or any agency or any local agency. It is the people. It is not the office. It is not the infrastructure. Everyone has got laptop. Everyone has got office. You could as well be operating from home. That also was done successfully. It's proven that you. So the wealth of an agency is in its people, and people were really affected in this. Business was affected. Now, thankfully, things seems to be opening up. I'm breaking your question into 2 or 3 parts. As far as MNCs are concerned, now they work in their own way. There is a WPP group. They have MNC clients. They have same group will have 2 agencies to handle 2 same category, 2 clients, that kind of thing. You could have a Coke and Pepsi being handled by the same umbrella company under the thing of 2 separate agencies. I have seen media buying houses where there is a glass door. On one side Pepsi buying is done, on the other side Coke buying is done, and the twain shall not meet. And there are relationships अंदर शादी भी होती है, but बीच में कांच रहता है. So that's there. As far as local agencies are concerned, they are going to stay. They are going to remain. They are going to sustain, because everyone is not a Pepsi. Everyone is not a Coke. Everyone is not a Levers. So there is a need for all kind of advertising, all kind of agencies. So there's no need for this audience here to be disheartened that अरे इतना पैसा दिया, degree आएगा हाथ में क्या करेंगे? All of you will everyone will thrive, because see, when the economy thrives, brands are going to thrive. Everything is going to go up. What is going to change, and which is what I kind of touched briefly, was that the way advertising is done. No longer will you have one TV commercial. No longer will you have just press ads, just hoardings and all. It's a time of opportunities, of great opportunities. You'll be able to do things on Instagram. You like Instagram, you'll be able to do things on Instagram. You like social media, you like Facebook, you like any other form, you'll be able to do that. So whatever talent you have, you will have the freedom of choice that I want to do this. For example, one of my friend's nephew, he is refusing to do anything else except gaming. So this guy sent him to me कि उससे बात करो. अरे मैं बोला गेमिंग क्या, मुझे मालूम नहीं है, मैं क्या बात करूँगा उससे. बोला बेटा क्या है? No uncle, I like gaming. So I told this guy, तो उसको गेमर बनाओ. If he wants to do gaming, he is at least he's not sitting at Char Rasta and smoking Marlboro and thinking of himself as a cowboy, So you pursue. As long as you don't get into this Bitcoin business and try to gamble your way out of life, so you can do whatever you want to do. So that freedom will be there. And agency business is not going anywhere. It is there to stay. MNCs will have their market share. Local agencies will have their market share. Only thing is the pie is going to expand. And there is much more on the plate. I mean, hopefully that's what I am envisaging. Answers it?
Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू. यस, अंधेरे में दिख नहीं रहा, फटाफट.
हाँ.
जैसे कि हाँ, अरे આ બેન અહીંયા છે, અહીંયા આ બાજુ. હા હા, આપ ફટાફટ.
Hello, sir. My name is Parth Kasat. Actually, I had this question that it's my personal opinion, and I've seen that people move from one brand to other brand very quickly nowadays.
Yes.
For example, people shifted to Jio when Jio gave free, and now I've seen people shifting again to Vodafone because they are giving free net at nights and things. Even if we see in food industry, people shift from one pizza brand to other very quickly. So, what is those key points a brand like any brand should keep in mind to capture and take those audience, take those consumers with them only? They don't shift it to other brands.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Okay, no.
Huh?
No.
Okay, get a girlfriend first. I'm just joking. See, what happens is, it's like, some people have one girlfriend or a boyfriend, and uske baad another girlfriend and a boyfriend, and then another girlfriend and boyfriend, and then one fine day they get married. When they get married, hopefully then they don't have girlfriend or boyfriend. Right? So coming to a more serious core thing, see, when you will move to Jio, not because you like Mukesh Bhai or you don't like, you move to Jio because साला free pack दे रहा है तुमको. He's giving you some good offer, something like, endless surfing or that kind of thing. Then you move back to Airtel because they are matching that and they're giving it at a lesser rate. As far as food is concerned, when you order from Zomato or Swiggy, you're not asking for ghar ka khana. You want to have some tasty, spicy tidbit from this place. So you want to keep on trying out new things as far as food genre is concerned. When it comes to things like mobile telephony, brand power is dead. Now brand is dead. I was talking about brand, Hutch, Vodafone. Now no one cares because at the end of the day, it's all boiled down to bottom line. That in 122 rupees, I am getting 2 GB free. Where I can alt Balaji pe dekhuga main pura din baith ke. So from there you move to again back to Vodafone because they are offering you something, the same thing at a much better rate. So there is no loyalty there. Or if you are say if you are studying here and there is no Jio coverage, then you are forced to go in for a Vodafone or a Airtel.
So, sir, I don't know if I have to say this, but even after marriage, people go for girlfriends and boyfriends.
अरे वाह, पहले अभी first have girlfriend, then all that, yeah.
So, sir, that's the thing. How do we always give our consumers the best? Because every time we do something, and other competitors will provide something better, and for that, people have to then cut the brand's cost and production cost and everything, and reduce their profit. So, what is the most important thing while we are studying consumer behavior that we should keep in mind for the people to be loyal to the brand?
See, dude, the thing is that one size does not fit all. You cannot generalize across all categories and all genres. If it is food, then if you are say you just like your khichdi, then you will 3 or 4 khichdi outlets are there. You will keep on ordering, and the outlet which gives you the best khichdi, you will eat only from there. Normally, from what I have seen, little that I have seen, is that as far as food is concerned, people have moods. Ke aaj pizza khana hai. So then it's a toss up between one local, one Pizza Hut, and one Domino's or whatever, and then you ask from. You might be a fan, I just like the Domino's pepperoni. Then it's a no-brainer. You're just going to order that. As far as brands are concerned, all brands are they are holding a swayamvar for you, my friend. They are wooing you. They want you to to get married to them. Be loyal to them. Give them money. Make them grow. And you meaning it's not just you. I'm talking about consumer. They are in the business to woo customers. So they try their level best. Some succeed, some don't. It could be a simple reason that there is in a place where everyone is accustomed to having non-spicy food. If you launched a spicy brand, it doesn't work. Like in Gujarat, if you launch a non-veg brand, there was a time, I don't know now, but if you launched a non-veg brand or non-veg restaurant, half the population will not visit you. Because even in a place where there is in the kitchen where they will say कि हमारा 2 अलग kitchen है, still people won't go. Where they'll say cutlery तो same है, that kind of thing. So there are geographical things, and so see, if it was so simple, and if in 2 lines, if I was able to answer you, then your life would have been so simple. But life is very complex, and brand life is very, very complex. So, but just trust me that all brands try to woo their customers. Everyone wants business. Everyone wants to grow. And some succeed, some don't. Right?
Thank you so much. And Hemang Bhai is with us for some time now. तो बाकी कोई ने बार प्रश्न पूछो तो चल से है ना. So thank you so much, guys. A huge round of applause for, as I said, India's most wanted creative branding. जो फरी तमने बदनाम करूँ छू, but the brilliant man, as I said. Thank you so much, Hemang Bhai. अरे please go. हाँ.
I would in the end थोड़ा ज्ञानवादी, last ज्ञानवादी, cutting no jokes. I'll just tell you all. You guys are are very young. You are like, I think most of you are undergraduates, right? Right? Yeah. So, follow your dreams. Do whatever you like. If in the process, if you waste 1 year or 2 year, in the entirety of your life, it will not matter. Trust me. Don't come under pressure of your families. Don't come under pressure of anyone. Try to, if you feel that, I want to write, try writing. These days, the fields have opened up all across. There is no longer a thing like, I can be only an engineer, I can only be a doctor, and you can be anything you want to be. So be confident, believe in yourself, and keep on reading, keep on reading, keep on reading, keep on accumulating knowledge, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and just be at it. And there is no shortcut to hard work. Keep on working hard. If you don't, there are two kind of people. One is a born Tendulkar, who will go there and he'll bat. And then there is another guy called Madan Lal, if you have seen 1983. Madan Lal was a bowler with a heart. He had only 3 balls in his repertoire. But when the captain gave him the ball, he was assured that Madan Lal ke 6 balls stump pe hi girenge. So if you can't be a Tendulkar or a Kapil Dev, be a Madan Lal. And you can still make it to the World Cup. You can still be a world beater. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that amazing session, Hemang Bhai. I request the volunteers to kindly